Hey guys, this is Anthony. Welcome to my radical review for Rampage. I just got out of it, and here's my drive home radical review of the movie. Well, I can go ahead and tell you it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it's not the greatest either. Like if I had to say, if there's if you was to see any video game or any movie based off a video game, I would have to say that Tomb Raider is better than Rampage. Now don't go ahead and say Ready Player One, because that was its own thing. That's based off of a book. Even though it's about video games, it's mostly based off a book, so don't even count Ready Player One. But Tomb Raider is based off of the game, and that's a better film. Am I disappointed? Believe it or not, no, because I've watched that, because I've seen the trailers, and the trailer already disappointed me with Ralph. Now, first let me talk about the video game, then we can talk about the movie. The video game, you got to play as one of three monsters. However, there's a catch to it. The third monster, which is Ralph, is hard to play as because that was for the third player, and when I played Rampage on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, back in the 80s, there's only two ports, so player one took control of George, and player two took control of Lizzie. Because there are three monsters. There's George, Lizzie, and Ralph. George is the monkey, Lizzie was a giant lizard, and Ralph was a giant wolf. So, and you start out as them as the monsters, and you go from town to town, causing destruction between Chicago and Seattle and all that good stuff. But and what's interesting is that your character never dies in the game unless you get eaten by the other monster. If your friend is being a dick that you're teaming up with and eats you, then yeah, you truly die. But you don't necessarily die. Instead, you revert back to your human form, and there you go, people. That's actually one of the very few first games to feature nudity, pixelated nudity, which I thought was hilarious at the time. Like George was a man, Lizzie was a woman, and I think Ralph was a man. But I never saw Ralph in his human form. I think his human form looked very similar to George's. But that was the video game. Here's the movie. The movie, I guess you could say it was named after the video game, but it has nothing to do with the video game. It makes no mention of the video game at all. No reference or nothing other than Chicago and the names. But yeah, in the movie, they're straight up animals. They're not humans. They're not mutated humans. Now, did they get the science part right? They got that right. And they got the form of the characters right. Okay, there we go. All right, they got the forms right. Like George was an ape, Lizzie was a lizard, and Ralph was a werewolf or a wolf. They got that part right in the movie. However, what they got wrong was, in the movie, they're straight up animals. They're already animals. Like they're doing experiments in a space station, and as this lady tried to take the samples out of the space station and into the escape pod, the lady in the escape pod did not make it. The astronaut did not make it, but then when it fell apart, somehow these containers survived the explosion. Oh, dang it. Yeah, so they survived the explosion, and these capsules land everywhere. One is the zoo where George is kept. One crashes in Everglades where crap where where the alligator got in contact with, and then one was in Wyoming, where it's where Ralph was, which is stupid because Ralph is from London, from what I understand, and Lizzie is from Tokyo. At least that's how it was in the game. And Ralph, when George was created in New York. And then, oh my God, and Ralph, my favorite monster out of the bunch. They messed him up, and they messed him up bad. Giving him wings, what the heck? Ralph, there's no flying in Rampage. What the heck? What's with the wings and the spikes? What the heck? Now Lizzie, I can understand with the spikes, with the lizard and everything, but come on, a wolf with spikes. Okay, Lizzie had spikes, Ralph had spikes, but George didn't have spikes. I mean, if they have the same exact thing of mutation, it's just, okay, gosh, this movie, I don't know how I feel about it. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but they did fuck up on Ralph. They messed him up bad. So, but as for the actual characters, Billy D. Morgan is in it, although he acted too much like Negan in this movie, which so I couldn't really tell about his performance. But Dwayne Johnson, he was Dwayne Johnson. He was that big tough guy. He's always got to be a hero. I have to say the best actress would probably have to be the doctor. Can't think of her name, but she did good. Dwayne Johnson did okay, but Billy D. Morgan, he acted too much like Negan. Just like how Johnny Depp acts too much like Captain Jack Sparrow in his movies. I mean, you pick a role and you stick with it, and sometimes it's hard for an actor to get out of that role. So you have that. Now the effects were phenomenal. The best damn destruction I've seen in any kaiju movie. And that's basically why I went and seen this movie, is because whether you feel about the video game or not, it is about kaiju, and I love kaiju movies. I love my giant monsters, whether it be Godzilla or Gamera or Mothra, King Kong. I just love them all. Like Pacific Rim was pretty good. Like I hate to say it, but Pacific Rim is better than Rampage. But gosh, I guess what I'm saying is, if you're a fan of the video game and want it to be remind you, if you're looking for that nostalgia, that 1980s nostalgia, it's not here. It's not here in this movie. It is not. I almost got a clear shot to go. Yep, I do. Yeah, it's not here in this movie, so and now if you're going to see Rampage for its kaiju factor, for its giant monsters, then yeah, it'd be a good movie to see. But if you're comparing it to the video game like I was, you're probably gonna hate this film. So let's get down to rating it. I give it, I would give it a 4 out of 10. A solid 4 out of 10, because would have been a 5 out of 10, but damn it, they did some fucking product placement shit, and I hate it when they do that. Dave and Buster's just had to have its logo there, and Ralph and George had to destroy Dave and Buster's. And then I did the research. It turns out Dave and Buster's they rebooted Rampage, but just for Dave and Buster's and only for Dave and Buster's. They rebooted a game, but that game can only be found at Dave and Buster's. Therefore, Dave and Buster's has to make their appearance in the damn movie. So that's automatic 1 point deduction. If it wasn't for damn Dave and Buster's, this would be a 5 out of 10. But because of that, it's a 4 out of 10. Because the effects are phenomenal. Like I said, the most realistic animal movement I've seen in a while. You know, it's. I guess you could say it's almost there, not quite, but almost there with the Planet of the Apes reboots. You know, the War of the Planets of the Apes. You know, the recent Planet of the Apes movies. You know, it has the same monkey effects as that one almost, but not quite. You can still tell it's fake CGI. But when they did the construction, when they battled each other, the fights, yeah, that is one thing. You know, the fighting is awesome. I love the fights. The battles was badass. Believe it or not, this movie, I will say this for this movie, it has more destruction in it than Pacific Rim does. Pacific Rim Uprising doesn't have as much destruction. Rampage does. They did get that part of the film right. But yes, but you know, I was disappointed with Ralph. You know, that's you know, because you know, I guess it's automatic. You know, automatic 1 point for Dave and Buster's. Automatic 1 point for messing up the origin, the lore. Automatic points for giving Ralph spikes. Another point for making Ralph fly. And the casting was, I hate to say it, the casting was kind of terrible. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan acted too much like Negan. But, and Dwayne Johnson, he kind of needs to stop that heroic act, man. Like, every movie he's in, he acts like a freaking superhero. So let's go ahead and cast him in a superhero movie for crying out loud. You know? So yeah, it's a 4 out of 5. And for me, the enjoyment level was a 4 out of 5. You know, like, it's not terrible, but I've seen better kaiju movies. I probably will own it later on down the road, but you know, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna buy it right now. I'll probably buy it when it gets thrown into the bargain bin at Walmart. You know, that $5 and $7 bargain bin. I'll probably pick it up then and there, but Rampage, I would not recommend going to the theaters to see it. It's more of a red box. I would recommend watching it either on Netflix or digital download, you know, or red box. Just, you know, if you're going to see a movie this month, I would say wait for the Avengers Infinity War. Wait for that one. But if you got to see a movie this month, if you're just flat out bored, believe it or not, I kind of recommend Ready Player One over Rampage. Then again, I haven't found anyone to play that watches The Quiet Place. You know, A Quiet Place, I had to choose between the two, either Quiet Place or Rampage. And like a dumbass, I chose Rampage because damn it, I love my giant monsters. Thank you, Godzilla nostalgia. So yeah, so there you go, have it, guys. That's my spoiler-free section. So yeah, so there you have it, a 4 out of 10 with a 4 out of 5 enjoyment level. And we'll get right into spoilers once we get into the same single line, and the spoiler section won't be very long. But yeah, in other news, I'm back on Twitch now. You know, I'll be right now I'm currently streaming Assassin's Creed. I'll be doing it probably later today or sometime over the week or weekend. Plus I'm going on vacation, so that'll give me time. Okay, single lane. Spoilers. Okay. Turns out that all the monsters, like Ralph, like George is the hero monster, so to speak. He's the Mothra of the movie. He's the good monster. But he goes from good guy to bad guy and back to good guy again. Because, dang, Hummer. Roadhog. But yeah, technically the true villain monster, I hate to say it, is Ralph. Again, they fucked him up. He's the true evil monster, and then Lizzie is just there. And basically, and believe it or not, even though Ralph is the bad monster, he wasn't the villain. You know, this lady and her brother were the villains in charge of this company that was in charge of making this genetic gas, this mutagen gas. So, so they're like, okay, we're doing what we want. Let's turn on the machine and bring them all to Chicago. You know, we experienced the success. We no longer need these monsters. Basically, they said, let's turn this on and let the military deal with it. You know, that was their evil plan, and they didn't care if Chicago got destroyed or not. And luckily, you know, George eats the woman, the villain woman, and as for the brother, he thought he could get away. He thought he could become a good guy again, but then he gets crushed by falling debris. I thought that was great. But yeah, but Dwayne Johnson and the doctor, they found out that there's a cure. Like, it won't stop their growth, but it'll stop them from being crazy and evil. And there's only to steal one. They was only able to steal one, and that's and they used that for George. Now, it does not show Dwayne Johnson injecting the cure. If he injected the cure into Ralph, I don't know how the heck he did it, because I know he automatically went into a freaking broken down helicopter. And that's another thing. Dwayne Johnson's pretty much reenacting his character from San Andreas, you know, being the helicopter pilot. What the heck? We've seen this once already before. It's with San Andreas. Which is, I do admit, that's one of Dwayne Johnson's better roles. But anyways, George and Dwayne Johnson, they tricked Lizzie into fighting Ralph. Lizzie kills Ralph by biting his head off, and then George is left to fight Lizzie. And George kills Lizzie with a spike and impales it right in the eye. And Dwayne Johnson kind of wounds it a little bit with throwing a pack of grenades in one of its gills, into one of Lizzie's gills. And that damages it, but doesn't kill it. And then you'd think that George is dead, but no, he lives. George lives. He plays dead as a kind of a sick joke. Yeah, the humor, there wasn't a whole lot of humor in it, but they did do a couple humor spots. Now, believe it or not, the audience did clap at this movie, and I was like, okay, you guys never played the video game. That's the problem. So yeah, Lizzie kills Ralph, and George kills Lizzie, and George lives. And that's pretty much it. No after credit scene, nothing to promote a sequel, and God, I hope this does not come out with a sequel. It better not come out with a sequel. You know, it did not give away any hints of a sequel, so. But they say that Quiet Place is a #1 movie, so I suppose I am thankful for that. So there you have it, guys. There's my review. It's gnarly. You know, I think it's gnarly. I'm not sure. I know Bloodhead is. Yeah, I'd say it's gnarly. It's a gnarly movie. 4 out of 10 with 4 out of 5. I need to really write that crap down whenever I do these reviews. Alright guys, well, I'll see you guys on the next review. Either I'm going to be reviewing Assassin's Creed and the Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection, which consists of 2 Revelations and Brotherhood. But my next movie review will be Avengers Infinity War. So take care and have a good night, guys.